Pokemon Day, everyone. I figured I would make a quick video talking about everything because we actually had a fair amount of information from today. I was fairly surprised with some of the stuff we got. So, first thing I want to talk about, we will leave the elephant towards the end of this, is we're going to talk about Pokemon Champions, as they actually gave us a date on it. First thing I wanted to say on it is that it's a little later than we expected. It is going to be April 2026, and then the mobile version is going to be later on in the year, so I'm expecting maybe an October, November release realistically. It feels a lot later than I was expecting for Champions to come out, which kind of sucks because we've been wanting to do some things with Champions over on the Discord. If you want to check it out, it'll be linked in the description. So that's kind of push a few things back, but it is cool that they at least gave more information on it because I saw a lot of stuff beforehand where people felt like we weren't going to get much information on Champions at all. So at least getting anything makes that really good. And I'm gonna skip over the few of the things I don't really care about, like the TCG, and we'll go to Poketopia. And so this is a game coming out literally next Thursday. If you're watching this on Pokemon Day, February 27th, and I ended up pre-ordering it. I have not played any Switch games since Mario Kart came out last year. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to get back into this. Maybe I need to buy ZA, stuff like that. I definitely need to, but I just haven't yet, and it looks really interesting. Towards the end of the trailer, it felt really Minecraft-esque. Looking at some of the worlds they had to explore and I guess things they had to do inside of it, which was pretty neat, I should say. And I'm very interested to see what they do with it exactly, or like what it's going to be like, because they also showed off a hide and seek mode inside of it where you can disguise as trees or you can hide behind things, which could be a really fun mode to play with other players because you can play with up to 3 friends. So I'm definitely going to be playing this when it comes out next week, and I'm just very curious to see how that game is, and I'll probably make something on it if there's anything of substance to talk about. And so then the next thing we gotta talk about is the Mega Dimension. As somebody who's not really played ZA, I don't even know all the Megas yet. I haven't even looked into it. There is going to be a new Mega version of Garchomp. Garchomp Z, I believe, is the one that they're calling this one. And it looks like starting in events, I don't know if it was today or starting in March, you're going to be able to find it through a warp hole or something like that. I don't know if they're just copying Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon at this point or what, but there is going to be probably more new megas off of it. I'm guessing this DLC is just you get more megas is my guess, because I don't know, I've not played ZA yet, so I'm not that very qualified to talk on the topic here. But let's see. I'm kind of scrolling through a list of things to figure out what's best to talk about. They talked a little bit about Worlds, and they didn't really give any new information, just touched upon it and just reminded people that, hey, Champions is going to be in Worlds this year, which is really interesting. And when I was watching the trailer at first, I was like, oh, okay, so cool. People could play on their phone, but now that they announced that it's coming out later, I'm assuming it's going to be only Switch 2s that are going to play at Worlds, which does make sense. You don't want people playing on their phone. You don't know what could happen with it being a mobile app and stuff like that. But yeah, I expect the mobile version to come out probably fall, realistically. I doubt they'll push it out before Worlds and stuff. Then something I have not talked about yet, which I feel like I should, is the Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green re-releases, as you can call it, onto the Switch. And I'm really puzzled by the way people have been talking about it, because everybody was like complaining online, and I was really surprised by the discourse on it because it's only $20. And that is not bad for a game that is just 20 years old or 22 years old now at this point. But I didn't understand why everybody was like, "Oh, they're being money hungry, they're being greedy, they're doing all kinds of stuff like this." When it's not. It's like, what'd you expect them to do? Make it a $5 game? I mean, realistically, they could have, but it's $20. It's not like anything crazy, and there is going to be home compatibility in it. One thing that did suck from the direct, I'm going to mention, is the fact that Pokemon Home will not be in the game when it launches. They said it'll come shortly, which they do all the time, but when they first talked about it, they didn't make it seem like we were going to have to wait to get the direct, and they made it more sound like, hey, it's going to be in the game right when it starts, which could have just been me listening to it wrong or tiptoeing and misreading it. But Yeah, I don't really know. Then, okay, two more things I'm going to talk about before we get into the big part of this. We're gonna talk about the cool little jukebox things they made. I'm curious how much they will end up costing. They have little jukebox players that will play the original Game Boy games, and they will have. So basically, it's a Game Boy player which has little cartridges of red and blue, and you put it in there and it plays the original things. If you go to the original Pokemon Center site right now, it says it is not available yet. So that means later today, the pre-orders will probably drop for it. I expect you'll probably pay 20, 30, 40 bucks for, nah, not 20 bucks. You'll probably pay double what you'll pay for Fire Red and Leaf Green. Just because of it being a novelty item and something like that. Okay, so last thing to mention here is XD Gale of Darkness is officially coming to Switch 2 through GameCube. The through the GameCube and Nintendo Switch plus the expansion pack, which is very interesting as somebody who has never played spin-offs like Stadium or um Gale of Darkness or XD. Wait, that's the same thing. As someone who's never played those, this may be my chance to finally play them because I was too young to have a GameCube and I haven't had my chance at doing that. So that could be a very interesting thing to possibly do, as I've heard good things about it. I wonder if there's Pokemon transfers available in these games. I don't know, honestly, if they would even let you. I doubt that it would be a worthy feature, but you never know. Okay, now that we're 7 minutes into this, let's kind of dodge right back to the beginning. I want to talk about Pokemon Gen 10. If you did not see, so the leaks were right on the name. It is going to be Pokemon Wind and Pokemon Waves, which is the very first thing I want to note. The leaks are correct about the name, so some of the information is going to be accurate. Obviously, a lot of stuff I saw, like starters and stuff like that, were wrong because they keep those probably a lot more tightly guarded than they keep the name of it. So that means we kind of need to watch out for what some of these leaks are saying because some of this stuff is right and there is probably more information we'll get. Second thing I want to note is I felt very misleaded going into the direct. The way they did their pacing, I really thought that they weren't going to show a game off at the end. The way that they put the titles card up and they're like, "Here's everything we announced today." I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's over." And then they said they had one more, and then I'll play the clip on screen. But when they showed the Pikachu's, I was like, "Oh," I'm like, "Wait." They're not going to show games. I'm like, wait, all this build up was for nothing? And then immediately afterwards, they went into the actual game and they showed off stuff. And I was like, okay, good. So they did a good job on their part there, at least confusing me. Maybe I'm just stupid and didn't watch it close enough. But I was like, oh, wait, they're not going to do it. Oh, they did it. And then, it kind of just happened. So so it caught me for a loop and I was very surprised. First thing I want to mention when it comes to this is going to be the graphics. This is going to be the first big thing that kind of points out to people on it, as it looks like it's a tropical archipelago design, kind of like they were what people were expecting, as it looks more Asian. The leaks everywhere were saying Greek stuff, and from the from the looks of it, some of the architecture stuff like that, it looks more um Asian, and it has more Japanese similarness, kind of looking like some of the towers in the background, kind of stuff like that. I should probably mute this as I'm trying to scan through the video real quick to try to have something of substance to show, but it likes to freeze. But it's very interesting seeing some of this. It's more, I guess I would call it more tropical rainforest, which I guess the architecture is close to Greek is the problem. So maybe I'm just kind of talking myself into random stuff right now, saying that, oh, it doesn't look Greek. But when it started, at least, and all the images they were showing at the beginning, all the sketches, it looked Asian. So it didn't look like they were going to go all the way to Greece. But then as it kind of went on more, and you look at dock, the beach, it kind of has more of a design, but also it has Japanese in the background and as some of the stuff. So it makes you wonder if it could be Japanese. I don't really know. So that's a kind of a part of it that I'm not very sure on. But something I am sure on is how these graphics look a lot better. That's the first thing I was seeing from from the community, is how much nicer the graphics are looking. And with rumors, speculations, pretty certainty, we can say that these are going to be Switch 2 exclusives. ZA is going to be the last game playable on both consoles. It's going to be the bridge. It's going to be the okay, we're cutting off Switch 1. I don't think another mainline game is going to realistically go on to the normal Switch unless it's like a spin-off similar to Poketopia or some third party who just wants extra money in their games. That that's really all that's there for that. And then so the last thing I wanted to touch base on is going to be the starters. As online, we already have some mixed discourse on Discord, funny enough, about the starters. And when I first saw them, they looked odd. Well, it's just because they're new Pokemon. I don't think they're the weirdest revealed starters. I still think, looking back at it, Paldea starters were weirder to look at for the first time. These guys definitely have a cutesy vibe to them, but like we got the fire dog, we got the bird with standing on two legs, and it's very interesting to see if it's going to evolve and stay on two, go to four, because realistically, Pokemon likes doing the same with their starters, where all the Mons go to two and they leave four legs. So I feel like they kind of make the starters overall worse. I feel like as they get to the final evolutions, which is kind of what they're meant to do, because they go from cute to fighting beast, which is the point of it. But especially the last two generations, some of the final evolution of the starters have been really ugly, and I've been a little disappointed in them. So I wonder if this is their chance to redo themselves and stuff. But the name of this last guy right here, I I don't know what to feel about this gecko thing. Like, I was reading the names as it went by, and I was like, "Oh, what?" I was like, "How do I even say this one?" I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it because I'm just gonna get made fun of because I can barely say people's names in my own server. So yeah, I think that is just my thoughts on this direct. This was definitely more of a oh hey, here's what happened. I did not get a video done this week. Let's jump on the hype train of talking about this direct and seeing what's all about with it, because there's definitely some interesting things with it, and there's other stuff I didn't mention. It was just a brief overview, and then some of my thoughts on Wind and Wave. I am definitely optimistic and interested and exciting to see how the next mainline game does, and maybe this will be the first mainline game I beat since Let's Go Pikachu. So we'll see. Maybe that also means I just need to go back and actually beat the last couple games and also buy ZA. But that is all for me, guys. I will catch you guys next week.